Channel 7 and Channel 11 and Channel 20 if you're in cable. Those of you across the diaspora, we say good morning to you. Those of you in the region, we say a wonderful good morning to you. It's, of course, a minute gone past 11, and this is the televised edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz. We say welcome to those of you that's joining us online on a social media platform, and that's via your YouTube channel, Facebook, or via our website, which is www.gbn.gd. My guest this morning, we'll be talking with a member of the Royal Grenada Police Force, that's Superintendent Vanny Kerwin, and we'll be talking all things related to, of course, they being one of the arms that have been leading this charge, of course, in the this COVID-19 period, and certainly there's always changes that's expected to be made as we strive and we get back to a place of normalcy. So this time I want to say good morning and welcome to Superintendent Vanny Kerwin. Good morning to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, Joseph, and good morning to your viewing and listening public. I'm happy to be with you this morning again, being able to disseminate whatever information I think will be useful for the general public.
Superintendent, we started this week. We're well into our lockdown period. If you were to assess where we are at present, in terms of when we first started, and the strides that have been made, your assessment, your evaluation thus far.
We have come a very, very, very long way. When we started, this was an uncertain, unprecedented course for us. None of us knew what to expect. None of us knew where we were going and how it was going to all end. But as we go from week into week into week, we've seen that the Ministry of Health and the frontline workers who was tasked primarily to contain and mitigate against the spread of the virus have been doing their part. They were able to arrest the situation, if you will, and because of the tenacity, we were able to ease restrictions week after week to get to where we are now. So I think we have made significant strides. We are not yet out of the woods, but we are seeing the end of the tunnel. The light is very visible. And I'm sure in another week or two, a lot more easement are going to come and we're going to, get closer to a state of normalcy as before this period starts.
We keep hearing the term normalcy, Superintendent, and there are those who would, I guess, depend on which side of the fence you are, that our lives really and truly is not going to get back to what we knew as normal 6 months ago. That's not going to be what's going to govern our lives in the next couple of months, is it? There's going to be a new normal.
And I concur with you. I do not think that our lives will be the way it used to be before that, in a number of ways. For instance, meetings as we know it perhaps may never go back to the physical meeting room. Meeting might be as we are now virtually. Some of the protocols, I don't see us going back to live before some of these protocols were introduced. I think people are going to become a lot more concerned now about personal hygiene, being aware of not only how this virus is being spread, but using the information and the education here as a means of guarding themselves against viruses that may come on in the future. So much things are going to change that you are right, we're going to have new normals going forward.
And I hope, of course, they say that in every experience there's always a learning curve to it. And certainly after COVID-19, notwithstanding the challenges it would have presented to us, I think there are some positives, as with everything else in life, that we can take out of it. Here we are now. Let's talk about the easement. We went from the case where the business community was open. Business was open for 3 days a week. Now, of course, this is the second week we are enjoying a full business week. Let's talk about how that transition has been and what's the expectation in terms of what's happening on your end going forward.
Well, when we started, as you rightly said, you said 3 days per week, but I remember when we started, the authorities were determining what days are designated business days. Before we get to the 3 days, I think it used to be 1 day per week.
Yes.
And then we gradually moved to 3 days per week, and now we are every day of the week. I think by and large, what is responsible for those gradual improvements is the fact that our Grenadian population heeded most of the advice, heeded most of the protocols that were announced. In most of the lines in the grocery stores and elsewhere, people kept their distances, people wore the mask. I wouldn't deny the fact that there have been one or two violations, but in the situation that we've been, that was policing. Yeah. But because of how Grenadians adhere to what was happening, I think we were able to mitigate significantly against wider spread of the virus. When this started as well, the RGPF pulled out all of the resources that we have. Our personnel who was on vacation, who were on vacation, they were asked to come back in. Persons who were, on sick leave but not being that ill, they were asked to come back in. We reorganized the force in terms of all of the resources that we've had. We've been able to acquire resources from the wider government entities. And so it has been very tedious for us in the initial stage. But as we continue to move closer and closer, and as easements continue to come, we start scaling back a bit on what we are doing because we are confident that we are getting out of the situation. We are confident that we are, as we said before, we may not return to a state of normality, but we are normalizing, if you will. And so, though it has been hectic for us as an organization, we were manning checkpoints 24 hours. We were on patrols 24 hours. We were on the street of Grenada 24 hours for the longest period in my career that I can remember. Apart from Carnival, which is a week or two, and apart from Christmas, which is a week or two, I don't think the RGPF has had such a sustained operations. We're going up for almost 2 months every single day for 24 hours. And so it has been tough for us. But I think the men and women in uniform of the RGPF, they have stood to the task. They have buckled down under the pressure. We have delivered the services that the Grenadian people expected us to deliver. There was not much complaints. We knew what was happening. We understood the time. We were trained and prepared for times like these. And when that time showed up, I think the RGPF really showed up as well.
And kudos to the men in uniform for what is a really great job that has been done. But Superintendent, as we progress into the state of emergency, and I said it is literally we are progressing into it with adjustments on a daily basis. I've noticed, and I want you to put it in perspective. You sort of hinted to it briefly, but I'm asking for a specific reason that I'm noticing less and less early in the operations. You were seeing a lot of the officers that were manning a lot of checkpoints. We've seen less and less of that. Put that in context because there are those who seem to believe that a reduced visibility of the law enforcement would seem to indicate that it's free for all. And I've noticed also that there seems to be even a more laissez-faire. Why yes, you want persons to get back to the normalcy of life. You get the sense that there seems to be a more laissez-faire attitude by the public in terms of, given the fact there's that lack of visibility from the police and a number of what was initially a lot of visible checkpoints.
That's a very good observation. In fact, I just came from a meeting with the Deputy Commissioner, and that very point was highlighted. Scaling back does not necessarily mean it is the end of the state of emergency. We must appreciate the fact that we have made significant strides. And because of those strides that we have made, the action of the police commensurate with the progresses that we have made on the ground. And so there is no point of, we didn't think it was necessary to continue to man those checkpoints the way we were manning them before. Now that we are easing the restrictions, but people still need to maintain the fact that we are still under a state of emergency. We have not gone back to normalcy. Restrictions are still in place. Our patrols are continuing, and we have just assessed this morning where we are. And that very question was discussed by the senior command structure of the force as to whether or not we're sending the wrong signal, or as to whether or not people are getting the impression or the notion that I'm not seeing the police as much as I used to before. Does that mean I can do whatever I want whenever I want? And the answer is no. We're still under a state of curfew. We're still under a state of emergency. And though there are greater easements, those easements must also be reflected in the actions of the police. Right. Because if there are easements now against parish boundaries, and there are easements now against what businesses that can open, and there are easements against 3 days a week as to every day per week, we cannot continue to police the country the way we were doing a week or two ago before those easements come on board. But I think this is being misinterpreted by the population, and people think it becomes a free-for-all. So we're seeing people who should not be out are continuing to come out. And so we're beginning to tighten again. And this is something we did not want to do. We do not want to tighten again, as it were, but if the protocols are not being adhered to, we have a responsibility as one of the partners in the fight to ensure we play our part. So Easyman does not mean you go on the beach for the whole day. It means from 5 to 11. Easyman does not mean you come to town and lime. It means you come to the businesses with the businesses that are open. Easyman does not mean you fool your bus with passengers or, and you're traveling to and fro, because there is still a restriction on no hiring of taxis and no public transportation being allowed to run now. So if going forward, the population does not continue to heed those advisories that have been put in place, I am afraid you will see police again as you saw them a week or two ago. So I don't want us to send the wrong message and the wrong signal here that it's over. Us scaling back, meaning law enforcement scaling back, is commensurate with the gradual opening up that we have seen. And you would appreciate we cannot continue to hold tight as we were holding 2 or 3 weeks ago, now that a lot more easement is coming. So we're looking at what is happening on the ground. We're looking at the action of the committee. We're looking at the action of announcements and releases that are made. And law enforcement is using our resources to compensate, what is happening on the ground. And that is what you have been seeing. But if needs be that we need to be as tough or engaging as we were before, that you're going to see again.
Because, I mean, you could easily appreciate that, of course, there's nothing that's written in stone in terms of how law enforcement would choose to maintain order.
That's right. That's right. We are hearing the cries of the people. We understand the stress and the frustration of being locked down for almost 2 months. We are humans. And, policing has to have that psychological connotation to it as well, understanding, the psyche of the people. And so when the government says it's going to be businesses all day of the week, we didn't want it seemed to look as if, well, though opening up is coming, yet we're locking down from law enforcement side.
Right.
So we're kind of going with what the government wants and policing the country, with the expectation, the strategic expectation of government. But if needs be, and we're falling back or we're going back into a state where we come from and we need to tighten again, and you're right, nothing is etched in stone.
You do what you have to
and
do.
So if we need to do what we did before, we would have to do it again.
Yeah, I'm quite happy, and I think the greater population appreciates the progress that we have made. Let's talk, Superintendent, regarding in more. Wherever there's interaction among human beings, whether there's interaction with the police, as a natural recourse, there's going to be differences, and we've been, of course, been following stories regarding abuse of power, what people may determine to be, because of course I was saying that have been abused by the police may not necessarily constitute that, but what persons may constitute as a breach of protocol and abuse of power by law enforcement authority. And I know that is a position that you're very serious on as an organization, and you leave very little stone unturned. Give us an update on where you are with the number of reports that has been circulating in the recent weeks.
What I can tell you, and I would hasten to say that our Commissioner of Police is someone who don't take lightly to the allegation of police brutality. It is not something we sweep under the rug. It's not something, because we have a responsibility towards it. We have a responsibility to the country. We are not above the law. We are enforcers of the law. And so we must enforce the law with that level of discretion. But I want to make a distinction between what people think is police brutality and not. The police force under the criminal code is allowed a certain degree of force to execute our different responsibilities. So for instance, if you're arresting somebody and that person is resisting you, the law gives us certain degree of powers to use a certain degree of force equal to the threat that we face to mitigate the situation and bring the situation under control. So if you're wielding a cutlass and a police officer pull out a gun and shoot, that may not be excessive force. It depends on the situation that you're currently facing. So a lot of what people are crying police brutality, in truth and in fact, without minimizing what may have happened may not be police brutality. Police brutality speaks to where there is no need to exercise any degree of force. There is no need to use that force because there is no threat or resistance. Yet you go ahead as a police officer and abuse somebody physically and otherwise. That is excessive, right? Now, we have heard quite a lot of complaints, as you have indicated. I have seen a number of videos that have been circulated, but we have not had many reports from the public. And I've said on the program before, and I want to take the time now to explain how it works and what needs to happen. We do investigate some of the videos that we see for which no reports were made, because we think we have a fundamental responsibility to ourselves and to the population to do that. So even if there are no reports and we see such videos, we have an obligation and a responsibility to do that. We have started a number of investigations, and we want to urge the public, and I want to urge the public this morning, if you have any complaints of police brutality, police unprofessional conduct, police misconduct, please come into the Community Relations Department, call into the Community Relations Department, and make a complaint.
But Superintendent, but you always get the sense that, and it's a general tone that is heard in the public, that the police, they're going to cover for their own.
Right, and that is the point, and that is exactly the point that I was about to make. We have heard that before, and we continue to hear that. But Joseph, you know as a fact that we have investigated many of our own before. We have charged many of our own before. We have prosecuted many of our own before. In fact, there are, I think, is 1 or 2 police officers currently who are in prison because of the action of the colleague. And I don't think it benefits the force to shield our rogue officers. We want to know who they are because we need to weed them out so that the confidence of the public can be regained, the trust of the public into the police force can be had again. There is no point we would seek to cover the actions of 1 or 2 persons that would taint the majority of 1,100 of us. I don't think any one of us in the force wants that. In fact, what we have been doing in the past to ensure that we remain transparent is that when those investigations are done, and they are done by police officers because that is the system that is set up, we do not make the final decision. We do not decide what happens. Those files are sent to the Director of Public Prosecution. And the Director of Public Prosecution decides if or who gets charged or disciplined for any action that the police are involved in. Some may say, well, you send it to the Director of Public Prosecution what you want him to see. But remember, he has a constitutional and independent position. Okay. And so he could demand and dictate and direct whatever he wants done. So if the investigation in the minds of some people was not complete, the Director of Public Prosecution can say to the police, this is what exactly I want you to go looking for and bring to me. And we don't, as I indicated, we don't make the decision. We allow him to make the decision. Right. We allow him to look at the facts, and he decides who gets charged and who is disciplined. So this is not an action of the police force. It's an action of the Director of Public Prosecution built in so that the confidence of transparency and openness can be seen and can be had.
And that is certainly something you would want to be maintained and established as a way of law, a way of within the police force, that people can develop a trust in what you do, and that is critical.
No police force can be effective without the trust and confidence of the public. And so when those trust and confidence are being eroded by actions of rogue police officers, if you want to use that term, then the organization have a responsibility, because we believe a lot in the people that we serve, as opposed to 1 or 2 of the officers who are going to make the rest of us look bad and going to add towards eroding the trust and the confidence that we want the public to have in us. We're looking for partnership. It cannot be done without partnership. There's only 1,100 of us in the police force. We are 110,000 in our population.
Right.
And it will be foolhardy of us to think that 1,100 of us can police the country of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitty without the support of the public.
As you said, that is right. What you're looking for is partnership, because very often when people hear the term police, they get this sense that you're up there with a big stick trying to literally marshal and keep everybody in line. And to the reality of it, that's not what it is. I think, but would you agree, because we run out of time and we have to touch on another subject, do you think very often the conflict that arises, that comes up between the general public and the police is because of a lack of understanding and even by civilians as to what their rights are?
I do think so. I honestly do think so. And this is something that at the department here we are looking to do going forward. So we want to be able to have more public information, public education sessions so that we can share what we are allowed to do in law and also share what the public responsibility is in partnering with us. I think it's a lack of information, and we have a responsibility to make sure the public understand from our end what is it we do and how they can play their part.
I want to touch on, there's always been a concern when we started this COVID-19 campaign, there's always been a concern about the safety of the men in uniform. The general public has been asked, of course, once they're out, to wear a mask. And of course, it would be, you would want to ensure that for the men in uniform, that when they go out, it is of course seen that they are following those protocols. I know you've been making your own your own internal efforts to ensure that all of law enforcement they follow those protocols as well.
Yeah, the executive of the force take mask wearing very seriously. In fact, when masks were issued, there were some police officers, for one reason or the other, have been seen outside not wearing a mask. And I know we have drilled down very heavily on the fact that we need to set the example. We need to be, the example that people will look to, and so it became mandatory for all police officers to wear masks. So much so that the commissioner became so concerned about us ensuring that we have sufficient masks that the tailor shop of the police force started making our own masks, and complementing the uniform that we wear. In fact, I wear khaki, and this mask is one of those that go with my uniform.
Okay.
As you can see.
Looking quite smart.
Matches the uniform. And then we have this one that matches the night uniform, the blues that you see at night.
Right. And
then we have those with if you could just turn the camera a little. And you see one with the police crest on the side of it.
Yes, I'm seeing that.
My colleague here is. So we have done what we need to do to ensure. So we have not only been talking safety, we are making sure that our officers have the resources, have the PPE that they need so that they can protect themselves if they have to protect the population.
Certainly, we're satisfied that you've done a great job, and we say hats off to you, Superintendent Vanny Corwin, and the rest of the members of the Royal Grenada Police Force. We have to wrap up, but I want to give you a minute just for any parting comments.
I just want to say quickly, beaches are open from 5 to 11. We are seeing people staying on the beaches longer than that. We want to urge them, 11 o'clock is the closing time. We are not yet into the area of social activities. So when you go to the beach, it's not for a social party. So go to get your swim, get your run, do your exercises, and get back. We've seen coolers on the beach. We've seen the back of vehicles with drinks on the beach. Those are not yet allowed. We are seeing footballers in various playing fields. We're not yet back to those kind of social activities. And so I want to urge the public. The law is still there. We are still enforcing it. We've scaled down on ticketing and charging, but if we need to step that back up, we will. We are at a stage now where we're getting out of where we are, and we want to do so in a safe and secure way, ensuring that all Grenadians understand their role in the process.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. I mean, we appreciate the time. Of course, you have a lot under your belt, but we do appreciate the time speaking to us here at the GBN. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, of course, we're looking forward to having you next week again, the good Lord's willing.
Sure, no problem. It has been my pleasure. Have a good one, sir.
Thank you. 25 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. There's the televised edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz. And I was speaking there with Superintendent Vanny Corwin. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we head further down south, where we'll be linking up with the folks from Real Value IGA as to bring us up to speed on what's happening in their neck of the woods.
Barriers Going beyond the ordinary. Examining the stories beyond what meets the eyes. GBN gets to the meat of the matter. Join us on GBN Television, Classic Radio, gbn.gd, or on Facebook via your smartphones and other devices. We take you beyond the headlines every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. We are GBN, rated number 1.
Coughs and sneezes spread diseases. So cover coughs and sneezes, please. Not with a rag or bandana. They trap germs. When you use the rag again, you put germs on your hands and everything else you touch. When you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and nose with tissue. Throw the tissue in a bin and wash your hands afterwards. If you don't have a tissue, cough into your sleeve or elbow. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers are also effective in cleaning hands.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be
and Current Affairs Department, and we're represented by Beverly Tellisford. We want to say good morning, and welcome to a wonderful friend, Cami from Real Value IGA. She's, of course, she's family, as with everybody else, and certainly with a breaking program in as you'd have anticipated during the COVID-19 lockdown, certainly. But you're back, and you are in living colors with us, my dear.
Yes. How has everything been?
Oh, quiet. Everybody's playing their part as it expected that we literally get through this period with as little bit of casualty as possible.
Indeed.
Talk to me. I know when you say Real Value IG, it's almost impossible to say Real Value IG and not smile and get a sense of the excitement within. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Okay, well, firstly, I would just like to reiterate that Real Value Supermarket is open every single day of the week. So Monday to Sunday, or Sunday to Monday, or however you want to say it, 7 days a week.
Right.
We are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All right, so let's start off there.
Right.
We've also, I mentioned before that we've been doing WhatsApp ordering. We were doing it 3 days a week. This week we started every single day. So every single day we're doing WhatsApp ordering. So if you don't feel comfortable to come down to the supermarket, you don't have to. Well, I guess you kind of do have to because you want to come and collect your goods.
Right.
But you don't have to meet the entire supermarket. You have a personal shopper who will be shopping for you, and then all you need to do is come down, collect your order, and pay, and that's about it. Okay,
take me through it. You say you have a personal shopper. So you have a WhatsApp number. What's that WhatsApp number?
Okay, so our WhatsApp number is 404-2121, which is very similar to our regular landline, which is 439-2121.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, 404-2121 for WhatsApp ordering.
Okay. So I go onto WhatsApp, I send my shopping list.
Okay, so how you go about doing it, right, is that the orders will be placed, we start off ordering at 8 a.m., right? That's when we open, that's when you could start ordering, right? We ask that person to put their name and their number at the top of their order. So you put your name, your number, and then in bullet points, you list all the items you want. So we ask people to be as precise as possible. So if you want, let's say, IGA, Clorox, IGA bleach disinfecting wipes in a 32-ounce canister or something like that, you highlight that. So let's say we have a product that has 3 different sizes. We have a small, a medium, and a large. If you could remember the ounces or the liters or the grams, that will make our life easier while shopping for you. right? So try to be as precise as possible when ordering. And remember, I said that the orders have to be in bullet points. So your name, my name is Camelia Brown. My number is 404-2121. That's a WhatsApp order. And then bullet points, one container IGA bleach disinfecting wipes, 32 ounce. And then you therefore go under and go down as much as you want, right?
So that is
Go ahead.
So my list is completed. I send it to you.
Yes. Okay. All right. So do not consider your order done until somebody recognizes your order or calls you, right? So someone, let's say how it works is that we get your order, we receive your order, then someone will go down or go through the supermarket, pick up all the goods for you, right? If during these circumstances, there may be a case that we don't have a particular item, but we have something else instead. So if we don't have an IGA brand, we may be able to get a Clorox brand or a Lysol brand or something like that. The person who is shopping for you, they will call you and say, I'm sorry, sir, madam, currently we do not have the IGA brand. However, we do have this alternative. Would you like this product? Right?
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's pretty much how it works. Do not consider your order completed until somebody calls you with your order number and also the total of your bill.
Right.
Okay. All right. Unless that is done, please do not assume that your order is completed or finished or anything like that.
What's the turnaround time though?
Yeah. So as I said before, starting this week, if you place your order between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., you can pick up your order on that same day. So from between 2 p.m. and 4:30 p.m., you could collect your order once it is placed between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., right? So you just go to the kiosk, you present your frequent shopper card. Don't forget your frequent shopper card, right? And you pay whatever form of payments you can make. You can make checks, credit card, cash, any one of those can do, right? And that's it. If your order gets done before, if you send in your order after 11 a.m., that is automatically for the next day.
Right.
All right. So if you order today after 11, like now, what time is it? Yeah, 11:30. Then do not expect us to call you and say, come and collect your order today. It will be done tomorrow.
Do I have the flexibility? I place an order after 12. It's something I need urgently. I really, really need it. Is there, let's say, a facility that allows me maybe with a special fee that I get an express service?
Yes, you could come down to the supermarket yourself. And of course, the lines are not as long as they used to be before. So yes, but we try to stick as much as possible to the WhatsApp guidelines. So there's no confusion, right? When you try to sort of navigate through different circumstances, then it kind of, does not make the situation as smooth as possible, So try as much as possible to just stick to the WhatsApp ordering guidelines. One of the things just to remember is that, everything sort of works, systematically. Yeah. So we try as much as possible to just stick to the WhatsApp guidelines, which are available on our Facebook and our Instagram page as well.
I know there's some people out there, they come up with some colorful ideas. I'm one of them. We just want to push the envelope, and I can see me deciding, you know what? Let me read your chat, Deb. So you don't have the real value IGA, whatever milk I want, and you offer me something else, and I'm like, I don't know it. Can I then decide? Well, why not? You shopping for me? You're already in the aisles. Why not? Let's do it via video. I'm throwing it out there because I can see people easily saying, "Well, let me see it. I don't know it." I'm just asking.
That will be up to the person who is doing it, but we try not to, go a bit too far, because remember, it's not only one person is ordering at a time. There may be several people ordering at a time.
Right.
There may be several people calling different people at a time. So that's just extra time to and I don't want to say waste time, because obviously it's not a waste of time for us, but I mean, time could go quicker if we don't video
And I ask it because I know there are people who literally they would forget themselves and not remember it's not your daughter or your grandchild you sent to the supermarket, but it's a facility that's been there that you can expedite and make your life easy for you, which I think a lot of people
Yes.
should at least be able to appreciate going forward.
Yes, exactly. We've actually had some really good reviews because we've doing it a couple of weeks now, and the reviews have been really, really good. I mean, obviously, as everything has a learning curve to it. So we did, improve over time, and we are improving over time. Also, we are in discussions to do, other things as well. So we have a lot, coming up to make people's lives even more convenient, right, with Real Value Supermarket, once you shop at Real Value Supermarket.
Is there a minimum amount that I'm using the term my cart, because now when you show up online you use your cart, but is there a minimum amount that I can order?
Yes, so we try to keep the order amount to $150, right? So like if you want two things in the supermarket, we don't ask that you use WhatsApp ordering. The supermarket is not, you don't have to spend the whole day in a line for the supermarket. So if you need one or two things, then of course you're always welcome to come down to the supermarket. But if you need more stuff, more items, then we urge you to use the WhatsApp service, because I know a lot of older people in the communities and people with pre-existing conditions that we would have discussed before that don't want to take the chance to come out and be around too many people or
Right.
or something like that. So so WhatsApp ordering might be better for them. I know some people in the come to the supermarket like maybe 5 times a week or something like that. Like if you're coming to the supermarket just for a couple items, then of course by all means come down. But the WhatsApp ordering services, like we try to, keep it that minimum amount.
When I get to the supermarket, I've placed so my order is inside. Is it when I get there? What happens? Do I have to join the queue, or is there going to be a list that's expecting me because somebody has confirmed that my order is ready, and I just literally I get this thing steamrolling?
Yes. So as I said before, the person, whoever calls you, will call you and they will tell you your order number. So,
Right.
good day, Mr. Cadore, your order number is 29.
Okay.
Okay. And your bill total is $200, right? When you get that, you come down to the supermarket. They tell you, okay, so you can pick up your order between the hours of 2:30 and 4:30, right? You come down there at that time, you go to the central doors of the supermarket. So that's the regular supermarket doors, the door to enter into Spiceland Mall by Real Value Supermarket. You go to the kiosk. The kiosk is located at the right-hand side as soon as you enter into that those doors, right? You go there to the kiosk and you tell them, okay, my order number is 29, order number 29. So the person will tell you, okay, this such and such is your total. You would pay them, and well, before that, they would tell the person, okay, this is Mr. Cadore. Mr. Cadore is here to pick up order number 29.
Right.
So you pay, you get your boxes, because we do package everything for you, and then you
Nice.
go with it. Easy, simple, and of course, there's minimum exposure to people. So you may encounter 2 or 3 people, and that's about it.
The process seems seamless enough, and I think at least more people should at least take advantage of it.
Exactly. All right. Just a note as well, protocols are still in place for COVID-19. The virus has not just gone away. So we still require people to wear their face masks and try as much as possible to not stand too close. The safest distance is 6 feet that we've been told by all organizations and all parties concerned. So we try as much as possible to make sure those rules are followed. As well, on entering to the supermarket or the doors, your hands will be sprayed with hand sanitizer or a high enough alcohol level, so 70% or more alcohol will be sprayed on your hands and also on the cart.
Great.
Right? So we do ask people to remember that protocols are still in place. You have to wear your face mask.
Let me ask you, Cami, at Real Value, we've gotten used to there being a products of the week where you can save on, and that was pre-COVID. Has that been reinstituted?
We come to come, not as yet. But
Okay.
sometime I will, yes. Hopefully by next week, we will tell you what the product of the week for next week is.
You will remind me, last week we were talking about access to the supermarket, and you were talking about there is a priority line and all of. Just remind persons as to, because as you're saying that some of the COVID-19 measures are still and being enforced. Remind folks in terms of what is being applied, how is it applied in terms of access to the supermarket and everything.
Okay, well, since we've really opened every single day now, we don't see as much lines as previously. So whereas last week we would have said that that entrance close to where Spice Isle Jewelry has the little outlet, there was going to be the entrance. We've not seen as many people, since I guess people
there's additional days
are
now.
choosing to shop, more openly, and they don't feel as constricted, or they have to shop between this particular time. So we haven't really seen any lines needed to be enforced. So people are always welcome to come into the supermarket once they are wearing their face masks, right? Once they acknowledge the fact that you need to maintain 6 feet distance.
Social distancing.
If we don't see that, we may have to have the security just remind you a bit that we are supposed to keep that feet distance. If you notice, once you're inside the supermarket, there are lines, vertical lines on the floor, horizontal lines on the floor of the supermarket, which indicates a 6 feet distance. We've measured them and they are accurately 6 feet away. So you have those lines to indicate where you are. We do try as much as possible to let people know that we have red arrows on the floor of the supermarket, which will show you the direction that you should go in traffic. We try as much as possible to have one-way traffic. So you don't bump into people, and you don't have people, standing too close to you. Remember, the supermarket aisle is quite wide. However, we do I know if 4 people needs flour, all of us usually would say, okay, let's all come together and try to reach for the flour.
Right.
But for during this COVID times, we could wait like 5 seconds for a person to reach for the flour before you go close to that person, right?
I think
so we just ask you to be. Go ahead.
No, just saying that, just to add to what you're saying, that I think each and every one, we need to be a greater sense of awareness as to our environment, what's happening, and I keep saying for this COVID-19 period, it allows us. We have an excuse to get selfish. I need to protect me, and if we all literally adopt that philosophy, I will do whatever is necessary to protect me. So even if it means when I go to the supermarket, I have to wait just a second, so that you don't have 4 faces converging together to get some flour. Certainly, there shouldn't be anything wrong with that.
Exactly, and as you said, like, you have to recognize the fact that I don't want to get sick. You have to protect your space. So if you find this, I know this may sound wrong, but if there's somebody standing too close to you, you could say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable with you being too close to me." Or if there's, if you find that somebody is in front of flour and you want to go, have a package of flour as well, and you find the person is standing too long, hopefully they're not, because they are also self-aware. You can say, "Excuse me, I would like to get a flour, but I don't want to come too close to you or invade your space."
And that's a nice way to put it.
Be excused. Yeah.
Because
you have to be polite.
You have to be polite, and because very often a person's reaction is hinged on how you approach them. A soft answer, if you're gentle with them, 9 out of 10. But there's always the exception to the rule. But most cases, if you're gentle to a person, you're calm in your approach, they tend to reciprocate.
Exactly. Exactly. Our grandparents always taught us that.
Oh yeah. And maybe what's coming out of COVID-19, and I was saying to Superintendent Cohen before your interview, is that that's one of the lessons, the takeaways from COVID-19. It probably may start to instill some of those virtues in us, a little bit patience, maybe because we become as a society, we're always busy rushing. We tend not to consider. And maybe at the supermarket, for me, if I go, I said to a lady yesterday, "Look, there's no rush. Ma'am, there is no rush. You want to go? Because I'm standing there and she cuts you like a bullet train. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? There's no rush. It takes me an extra 5 minutes, but you know what? You go right ahead. Because at the end of the day, you and I starting to bounce and rub shoulders, and I'm not really up for that. So maybe people really need to start taking their own personal approach to it.
Exactly. And I think so as well, because, like loosening restrictions doesn't mean that the virus is not there anymore. The virus is still there. People are still catching the virus. However, you have to, stay as safe as possible. And if it takes you, whereas it takes you 30 minutes in and out of the supermarket, but, like you have to wait an extra 5 more minutes, then just do it. Do it for yourself, do it for your family, because you have to go home to your families.
5 minutes can save your life. 5 minutes of waiting can definitely save your life. We've gotten news, of course, at Real Value. There's parking, it is spacious, wide, the ambience is great. And everything down there is always just exciting, but that's not the case now. So next week, you are going to tell us about the products of the week. Have you started the resumption of the purchasing of vegetables from the general public, from the farmers?
Oh, we haven't stopped.
We didn't stop.
Haven't stopped.
Okay.
We have not stopped purchasing local products from our farmers at all. We just, right now, we're okay with what we have.
Right. But that is...
So that's not something we stop. We always remember support local 100%. So we do have local produce in the supermarket. It's just that right now we don't need anything from our farmers.
And that's yet another reason why persons should feel comfortable in shopping at Real Value IGA. You support local.
We have everything that you need.
Have everything that you need, and they support local. 14 minutes onto the hour. We have to wrap in just a bit, Cami. But certainly before you leave, anything that you want us to touch?
Yes, I just want to let people know that our hot foods is open, right? We have a selection of items pre-packaged. So all you need to do is just pick them up and pay, and then you go with them. So the menu is available on our Facebook page, or you could always call the number 439-2121. And let's not forget the number for our WhatsApp ordering is 404-2121.
What are you having for lunch today?
I ain't reached it yet.
You reached it? It's right there. But certainly remember, folks, the hot food section at Real Value IG, it is open, and you could certainly take advantage of the new facility. WhatsApp ordering 404-2121. Thanks a lot, Cami, and thanks to all you wonderful folks at Real Value IGA. Hope you have yourself, enjoy the rest of the day, and have a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious week. The rest of it.
You missing Rock the Box, man.
Don't you worry. That's going to come. Everything in due time.
All right. Have a good day.
Take care.
Thank you, guys. All right.
And speaking there with Camellia Brung, I just shortened it, and of course I call her Cami, and one of the marketing officers at Real Value IGA, talking about that wonderful facility. Yes, WhatsApp ordering. You can literally 404-2121, send in your orders, you go collect. We need to make way for the midday edition on radio, a production of a news and current affairs department, and it will be presented by Beverly Telesford. We want to say thanks to those of you who joined us on television. It certainly was a pleasure being here with you, and we're looking forward, of course, to another day, another place and time, which is tomorrow, to be back here with you. So we break away from television, and of course, just going to, of course, we wrap up with you here on radio. We have a few ads, of course. We take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with you. Classic 105.5, 105.9. And we say thanks to all those of you that was viewing on GBN's channel, 7 and 11, channel 20, on YouTube, and via our webpage. Have a great one. JC loves you.